I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, but if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. Do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
Look at here. Look at that. Julius,
What up?
What are you in, a car? Are you being transported to the room?
Listen, I just came out, listen to me, I just hit the airport. I'm in Atlanta, the ATL. I'm in one of these big boy little van limousines, boy. Look here, I'm doing it good.
How you tell us you 5 minutes from the hotel?
Listen, and that's 5 minutes Atlanta time.
That's an hour then. That's a whole hour. 5 minutes.
No, listen. You hear me good. What's up, Garrett?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Listen, even though I'm mobile, I am excited to be here with you, ink to ink, incarceration to incorporation. You know why we're here. What we do is we provide a safe space for incarcerated men and women. We provide this space for them so that they can share their stories. Why? Because their stories are important. All of our stories are important, and we're changing the narrative. Why do we need to change the narrative? Because not everybody who gets out of prison returns. That's why we need to change the narrative. And we have a platform for returning citizens, relatives of returning citizens, and resources for returning citizens. And with that being said, that's one of the reasons why we have Dr. Ron Garrett on with us tonight, because he is getting ready to share his story, a story of true restoration, what it means to come home and be a solution and no longer a problem. So we're going to invite him to tell his story. First of all, what's his name? What's his relationship to incarceration? And then he's going to share his modern day Joseph story. So, but first, let me give a shout out. What up, Julius Hall? What up, AB? What up, Marie? My co-host. We are here doing it live and loud. Ron, what's up? Tell us who you are and what you do.
How's everybody doing tonight? I'm so glad to be with you all this evening. As Julia said, my name is Ron Garrett. I am a returning citizen. Served actually 20 years in the Georgia Department of Corrections, September the 4th, 1998 to September the 4th of 2018. So I've been home a little bit over 3 years, but just to back up just a little bit, I was raised in a solid Christian household, grandparents on both sides, Baptist on one side, Methodist on the other. We were how could I say, church is in my blood. That's the way I want to let me get it out to you. It didn't matter where we were on the weekend as children, you're going to church. It didn't matter what time you came in on Saturday morning, you're going to church. So, but anyway, when I went off to North Carolina A&T State University at 17 years old to major in electrical engineering, and it didn't take long for my single major of electrical engineering to transition to the triple major. That should impress y'all. A single major to a triple major. My triple major became binge drinking, chasing girls, and partying, and I don't know know if that's the right order, but it took me all of about 3.5 years to flunk, slam out of school, and get sent home. So I went home for the summer and then transferred to Claflin College in Orangeburg, South Carolina, which is where I met my wife. I spent the next 12 years of my life becoming addicted to alcohol and cocaine. And that all culminated on, like I said, on one September evening in 1998. I had been praying to the Lord, please rescue me. I was asking him to save me, Julius. And you know what he did? He dispatched a legion of angels to come and see about his crazy son. And the reason I knew they was angels is because of all the blue flashing lights. They all had on matching uniforms. They had shiny gold stars on. And I knew that, this has to be the welcoming committee that my father has sent to rescue me. And truly, that's what happened. I was convicted of an armed robbery charge and started my incarceration in the state of Georgia. The thing that was a little bit different for me, I was able to, I saw at the first prison that I went to, I saw a flyer, Julius. I'll never forget it. It said, seminary applications in the chaplaincy department. And I never looked back. That's how I spent my next 15 years of incarceration, going to school. Was able to earn a bachelor's degree in ministry in 2003, a master's in ministry in 2009, and a doctorate in ministry in 2012. And worked with awesome folks like Julius to implement faith and character-based dorms and reentry dorms at facilities across the state of Georgia. So that's my first little part.
That's
And
an
you know, I
awesome.
love that because what I want you to do also, so often we talk about, we jump over the prison experience right into what's going on the outside. But there's a term that I phrase called progressive preparation. And that means tell me what you did while you were inside to prepare you for where you are today, number one. And then number two, when you came home, was your transition a smooth one or a difficult one? And tell us why or why not.
So what I did to prepare, I mean, I had been taught my whole life growing up. I mean, education, education, education. If you know that was what we were taught was the ticket to having the life that we all dream about. I just thought at 17 years old, I thought I was smart enough to not need to go that route. I was going to figure out my own process. But nevertheless, to prepare to have a successful reentry, I chose to become a disciple of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, number one, and number two, to become a student of any book that I could get my hands on. Julius probably can remember some of the some of the times I was so serious about my education. I didn't have no time to waste on foolishness. All the way to the extent that when we're walking from the dorm to the cafeteria, we called it the chow hall, but to the cafeteria, because we were walking in a line and because we were only moving at less than 0 miles an hour, I chose to I would be reading a book or memorizing a scripture or studying for a test. We had to use every minute of our time in order, because I believe that when I was released, I had to be prepared. So the only way to do what I believe God was calling me to do upon release was to invest the time and energy to be equipped to serve in a role like I have today while I was incarcerated. So my reentry experience, I'll say, let me back up just a little bit, Julius. I'm gonna say my incarceration experience was actually, it was a little bit different. Julius used the term, and I'm not making any comparison because I don't want y'all to think I've lost my mind, because I have, but if there was an incarceration experience that could even be in the same conversation with the things that Joseph was able to do while he was in prison, it would be to 5% of that, I would say, by the grace of God, I was allowed to do, to have access to computers and to be able to write programs and curriculums for classes and help to set up reentry dorm programs across the state. It was an amazing experience, to say the least. My reintegration was different because when I was released from the Augusta Transitional Center, my family was there, my parents, brothers, sisters, wife, sons, a couple of church congregations. We had a praise and worship party in the lobby of the transition center. I was told upon coming home, they sit me down at the first dinner that we had. They said, "You're not getting a job." And I'm thinking to myself, what? You don't need to work yet. You need to get used to being out here, being used to being in society. And come on. And this room, that closet, those clothes are yours. This closet, those clothes are yours. This closet, those clothes are yours. And here's the keys to this car. You can drive that. That is not how most people that are released from incarceration re-enter the community. And I am crystal clear that if it were not for the grace of God, I would not have been able to progress as swiftly as I have been able to, only by the grace of God and because I have a solid family network, which is why I'm passionate about providing reentry services and resources to our brothers and sisters that are coming home that do not have family support upon reentry.
That's a great story. I know Drew's like to butt in. And what was so telling about it is that the first thing you saw when you got to prison, you saw that sign, and God has a way of getting your attention,
Right.
and that's what He did. He rescued you from yourself.
Exactly.
And the devil had us out there, and he rescued all of us. It might have been some circumstances that we didn't want to even get involved in, some things we didn't know would happen, but they happened. And those things rescued us, because now look at the three of us and what we're doing in the community.
Right.
We're touching people's lives. We're changing lives. Before, we were doing almost nothing, but ruining our own.
Right.
But God has a way to say, I got something better for you. And that's what He did.
Amen.
Especially for y'all too. Especially for y'all too. So that's just a great story. What is Adams House, the Bridge Center?
The Bridge Center at Adams House is Prince George's County's, Maryland, one-stop shop for returning citizens, veterans, and transitional age youth. And our definition of transitional age youth are young people who are 18 to 24 years old, who are old enough to have graduated high school, but they're not employed and they're not in college. They're just out here in the community, kind of just floating around. So we are an interagency collaboration led by the Prince George's County Health Department, the Department of Social Services, the Department of Family Services, Department of Corrections, Employ Prince George's, which is our Prince George's County's #1 workforce development provider. And we have partnerships with about 30 community-based partners to meet the needs of our clients or our residents.
Okay. All right. Julius, you got a question?
I got a question for you, Ron. Listen, I'm out here in Atlanta, man. I'm looking around and I'm been introduced to different returning citizens that are here looking for employment, looking for houses. And so tell me, how has it been where you are? Has it been difficult finding those resources? And if so, what can we do, as whatever story you got or whatever information you can share? How can we here in Georgia, Savannah, and Atlanta do what you're doing where you are?
So one of the things, resources, my second job, maybe I'll have time to tell y'all about my first job before the night's over, but my second job, upon being released, I was home for 3 months and was able to serve as the regional reentry coordinator for Washington, D.C. Although I lived in Prince George's County, Maryland. Washington, D.C. is about 780,000 people. Prince George's County is a little bit over 1 million people now. So that's, just trying to give you some perspective. Washington, D.C. has a great reintegration programming and support led by the mayor's office on returning citizens affairs in Washington, D.C. So we work towards developing that same level of resources and programming in Prince George's County. And we did that by bringing together the community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, to create a coalition of reentry resource providers so that we could work on solving and providing for the needs of returning citizens collectively, as opposed to one organization trying to do it all, because there is no one organization equipped to meet the needs of all of the returning citizens that are coming home. But when we come together, we can do some amazing work.
Okay, we got a question here. Did you get, she asked about the address for sending a check in support of your program. Did you get it? Margaret, which program are you talking about? You talking about Adams House, the Bridge Center, and are you talking about ATR and the Black Media Network? We don't know which one you're talking about. If you want to send a check to both, we're going to put up that information for you to send it to both. So you can support both platforms,
Mhm.
this platform and brother Dr. Garrett's platform. So we appreciate anything that you do for either platform. It's always needed.
And
Amen.
while she's answering that question, Ron, I got another question for you. Can
Yes.
you share some of your success stories as it relates to men and women who have gotten out of incarceration? Can you share what some of the success stories are? Because we realize every story matters, but
Right.
the media is always telling us the negative stories. Tell us some positive stories.
Well, I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna talk about two or three or four. One of them, one success story. His name is Jerry Smiley. He's gonna be the latest, greatest reentry phenom that is gonna take the community by storm. We're waiting on him to be released, and I'm believing it any day now. We're gonna get word of his release date. And then you have people like Brother Julius Campbell that's turning Chatham County, Georgia, upside down in the name of Jesus and in his service to returning citizens and transitional age youth. If I believe that's correct. Now, when I came up to the DC to visit my brother, the thing that captivated my undivided attention was I was looking at the news and they were doing a story on an organization called MORCA, MORCA, and that's Washington D.C.'s Mayor's Office on Returning Citizen Affairs. First of all, it blew my mind that the mayor had a executive cabinet position that was the voice for returning citizens. And then as they went on into the story, I learned that the executive director, his name was Brian Ferguson. He was also a returning citizen. I couldn't believe it. Julius, I went to that office the next day. The next day. So then Brian actually served in that role for 2 years and he resigned. And it blew my mind until I found out that he had been awarded a Rhodes Scholarship to Cambridge to get his master's degree in leadership. He's a returning citizen. He's also now a Rhodes Scholar and the executive director of the Frederick Douglass Project, which is a entrepreneurship program through Georgetown University. And there's on and on. Victoria Pryor, she is a returning citizen. She's now the executive director of diversity and inclusion for Dick's Sporting Goods. Lamont Carey, he's the current executive director for the Mayor's Office on Returning Citizens Affairs. Mr. B.J. Page, this past year, Prince George's County created, not this past year, going into FY23, fiscal year 23, which will be starting July the 1st, Prince George's County has now created the County Executive's Office on Returning Citizen Affairs. And both of the two key leaders in that office, Mr. B.J. Page and Mr. Mike Williams, they're also both returning citizens. So their stories on successful returning, they're all over the place. But just like you said, Julius, the media chooses to only focus on the one guy that gets out and does something bad. And I want to say this right here. There are countless numbers of returning citizens that they're not a megachurch pastor, they're not executive director, they're not this or that, but they are working a job, they're paying their bills, they're taking care of their children, and they're being a positive impact in their community. And you can't ask for any more than that. And people like that are everywhere who have been formerly incarcerated.
And that's what's so great about what we do here on this platform, because we try to make sure that we bring those stories and those testimonies out. Because one thing that I always say is that once paid, a debt is no longer a debt. So that means that you can go anywhere from where you are. Right. All you have to do is have the motivation to get there, determination and the dedication to get there. And you can do anything that you want to do. It is those are some great examples. Maybe we need to see whether we can get. I know that we had a a unit here with the DA's office where they had a returning citizen that Julius had on the show. What's the brother name? He used to be in the DA's office for the I think it was a gun czar, the crime czar.
Oh, you talking about Nick Powell? Who was a
No, no, no. It's another brother that he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he used to be in the DA's office.
the DA's office.
Well, he used to be with the crime czar, but he's a returning citizen, and they had him up there doing engagement in the community. He was on the show the other week, 2 weeks ago. I can't think his name.
I can't remember off the top of my head
Yeah.
right now. But you know what? I just when I'm up here in Atlanta, one of the reasons why I was here is there was another young man. His name is Greg Washington, and he is the VP of City of Refuge, the reentry organization that is sweeping through Atlanta and changing the narrative along with OAA, Offender Alumni Association, Atlanta. And so there are countless men and women who are doing phenomenal jobs, who are successfully hitting the streets relationally, organizationally, occupationally. I'm talking about they are doing wonders. And this is one of the reasons, Ink to Ink, Incarceration to Incorporation, we have provided this platform so that we can continue to change the narrative. I love what Ron is saying as it relates to Prince County, Georgia, and Washington, or Maryland, as it relates to Savannah, Georgia, Julius Hall, ATR Media, or right here in Atlanta, Georgia, City of Refuge. If we all come together at Alabama, OAA, if we all come together and stop doing these silos, can you imagine how many men and women we can assist? And I know that is right at the heart of what Dr. Garrett is trying to do as it relates to Reentry United and all the other things that he has. But Ron, continue. Tell us a little bit more about some of the things that you're doing all around that touches everyone.
Well, most recently, we've been able to partner with the organization out of Baltimore. They have a automotive technician certification program that is specifically designed for returning citizens, and they have now opened up a location here in Prince George's County to equip returning citizens who would like to become certified automotive mechanics with a training process that costs them absolutely nothing. It is amazing. We've been able to partner with two organizations that had a desire to offer transitional housing. About 2 years ago, there was no reentry transitional housing in Prince George's County. We're now up to about 45 beds. There are 3 men's houses and 2 women's houses, and 1 women's returning citizens women's home for women with children. We have implemented one of our mentors, a part of his model called Uplift. We know that one of the major barriers for returning citizens is their access to transportation. So one of the things we've been able to do since I've been at the Bridge Center is to have funded a transportation program that we're calling Uplift. It allows for any returning citizen that is a client of the Bridge Center, if they're in need of a ride to a job interview, to see their parole officer, their case manager, doctor's appointment, if they're in a job training program, and even if once they get hired, you still have to get back and forth to work for a couple of weeks until you get the first check. But that is something that we're able to pay for our clients. We have a identification program, able to pay for their IDs, birth certificates. Trying to think, we have a great partnership with an organization that is a behavioral healthcare organization that provides what is called PRP support. And that is like a peer-to-peer program that we're able to match returning citizens one-on-one with a reentry navigator to walk them through their reintegration process.
Awesome. Those are some awesome programs, and we need those programs throughout the whole state and throughout the whole country, because everybody who offends isn't a bad person. They might have did a bad thing, but then when you change your life, it's always a second chance for anybody to change their life. And
Right.
those are the type of organizations that needs to be in place across the country, so that people can get that uplift. you
Right.
know yeah. We
For
say grace.
sure. For sure. Check this out. Because we got people that are listening that have been out of prison for a while. And some of them might be saying, well, man, it sounds like you've done great. You've made it. But I want you to also be relevant to their reality. Because when I came home, my reality was different. I had stable housing, gainful employment, community support, faith-based support. But a lot of them don't have it. Speak to them and encourage that audience right now, those returning citizens that have struggled. I want you to let them know right now, encourage them at this particular moment right now, Garrett.
One of the things that we've also implemented, I did leave out, is our Welcome Home Reentry program, where a returning citizen that is coming back to Prince George's County, who is going to be in one of our transitional housing programs, 9 times out of 10, if a person is going to be in the transitional housing program, that is because A, they may not have a good solid family support network, the family may not have the financial resources, or they just may not have the space. But what we're doing is, this past Friday, 35 brothers and sisters came to meet a newly returning citizen. He got out that day, and we met with them on that same day. Everybody that came to this celebration, we have to come with something in our hand: a gift card, tennis shoes, a sweatsuit, hats, underwear, so on and so forth. So because of my because of my role at the Bridge Center, we're able to have the 180-day release list from the state system, the county system. I'm still working on that kind of relationship with the federal system. So we are aware when individuals are coming home, and we're able to connect with them pre-release to get in place a individualized reentry plan for each one that are coming back to Prince George's County. But I do want to tell you, even if you're not here, there is a network wherever you are, wherever you live. There is a returning citizens network. There are resources available, and I want to encourage you to seek out one of the most beneficial people that you're ever going to meet, and his name is Mentor. Find you somebody who is doing what you want to do with your life, and walk up to them and ask them, will you show me how to do this? Will you invest an hour of your time each week? I'm willing to do my part, but will you assist me in learning how to start this business or get this certification? Or I want to go back to college. Whatever it is that you want to do, there are people in the community that will help us as long as we're willing to put the work in.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's what's needed.
Yes.
Because there's no reason why. I mean, and you're exactly right. Because if a person came and asked me to mentor them into so that they can not be a part of the recidivism project that they got,
Right.
then I would gladly show anybody or help anybody. This is what this program is about. This is what we do. We want to make sure that nobody else goes into the system.
Right.
That's why I mentor these young boys now to try to keep them out of the system, because these young kids have a different mindset than what we had. And it's totally different, Dr. Garrett, how we got to be able to reach out to them. And it's hard, Yeah.
And not only that, Garrett, I want you to also remember there are 2 other audiences that we have listening to us. Number one, our brothers that are still behind bars, our sisters as well. But also we have another audience, the community. So
Right.
there's a community that has never been inside prison, that doesn't know anything about prison. What I want you to do is to speak to both of those audiences. I want you to first remember our brothers and sisters that are still behind the bars. Encourage them about progressively preparing and not giving up. But then secondly, I want you to talk to that community that refuses to receive us. And I use the word us.
Right.
So therefore, speak to those two communities right now.
So to the brothers and sisters that are still on the inside preparing to come home, me and Julius used to have this conversation often. Myself, Julius, and Smiley, part of our network, if you would, preparing to do great things when we were released. I could always tell when someone was sharing with me. I'm talking about when we were on the inside, Julius. The brother that come and sit down and say, I'm gonna open a business, I'm gonna have a car lot, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna build houses, I'm gonna do this, all these amazing things. But there are two different people that'll tell you the same story. One that's just talking, and the other one, they're putting the work in. And I could tell easily which one of the two were actually gonna accomplish what they said. Because every single day, while they were even in that environment, they were looking for a book to read about what they wanted to do. They was trying to get somebody to mentor them through the process of doing what they wanted to do. They were seeking counseling, wisdom from men and women, counselors, pastors, volunteers that were coming in about accomplishing their goal, putting together a business plan. And then the other guy, all he did was just talk about it. You never saw him read a book. You never saw him in the library. You never, and so what I say with that is, if you're planning to go somewhere with your life when you are released, you need to align yourself with other people, other men, other women that are in your environment who are going in the same direction that you're going in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No one can take. I did an experiment. Lord have mercy. I used to do an experiment. I used to go up to a guy that's just standing around or walking out of their room, and I would just say, "Hey, come in for a minute. Can you come talk to me?" And they'd come down and sit and talk, and we would go out on the rec yard. I would just lead them around doing stuff. And you know what that would tell me, Julius? This person didn't have a plan for their day. Julius will tell you, when we were on the inside and you come knock on the door, you didn't have a whole lot of time to be bumping the gums, because we had work to do. Julius will cut you off in a minute and say, "Hey, brother, hey, that's good. That's good, brother. That's good. But I'm getting ready, because I'm getting out of here." So I'm saying to you that are on the inside, make your prison experience, don't look at it as being in prison. I was in college, and that's the way I viewed it. My dorm wasn't as nice as the North Carolina Tar Heels dorm. It wasn't as nice as the University of Maryland, but nevertheless, those rooms had a bed. There was a desk. Well, most of them had a desk. Some of them had been told had a desk, and that's the way I view my prison experience. I'm in school, and I'm in the school of preparation to be successful when I'm released. And nobody can do that for you but you.
That's right. You got to prepare for when you're released, because if you don't prepare, what you do, you go back home and you hang on the same corners. And then what that gets you? It gets you looked at under a microscope, your probation officer, the police passing by every day. You end up back in jail. So you got to want to do right. You got to want to do better. And you got the help. You got the resources like never before.
Yes.
There are resources out there for you to succeed. So you can't go back in there. You don't want to be a returning inmate. You want to be a returning citizen. That's it. You don't want to be returning nothing after that, but be productive. And that's what it's all about. These programs. We need to find a way that we can also try to get into these prison counselors,
Right.
so that we can give these guys that are leaving packets on when they can vote,
Right.
what they need to do, who they need to see. All these things we need to have packets for them that they get when they leave the system. That's the next thing that I was going to talk to Julius about, that every returning citizen, when he's leaving prison, he needs that packet. They give you some stuff, but they don't give you what you need.
It's what you need.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
Then
know, before you go, Ron, because I still want you to speak to the community, those that don't know nothing about reentry or incarceration, that have been difficult as it relates to returning citizens reentering into society. I want you to speak to them. I want you to encourage them as well. But before you do that, I want to give a shout out too. There are a lot of our brothers and sisters that have did a long time, that have been faithful about preparing progressively, reading and planning and figuring things out. And they're still waiting on that opportunity. I want you to know, keep on doing what you're doing. It's not that you aren't doing the right thing. The door just hasn't opened yet. Keep on being encouraged. Keep on pushing. Keep on progressively preparing. All right, Ron, talk to the community.
Okay, so I got to piggyback on that. Julius has not changed. I was getting ready to say my second part, and he stopped me. He cut me off again, but that's all right, dude. You good, you good. So look, the earth, I want to say the earth. Everybody know the earth rotates, right? It rotates on its axis. This is going to mean something. Give me a minute. It rotates on its axis. When the astronauts are in space, and when it comes time for them to come back, they have to come back in what is called, there is a window that they must come back, because the earth is moving. They can't come too early or come too late, especially if they're aiming for ocean. You don't want to be aiming for ocean and hit land. That's not going to come out too good. I want to say there are some brothers who have been grinding for a long time. Brothers and sisters, you've been doing the right thing, following the rules, doing everything that you can do to prepare yourself to be successful, and you don't understand why. The answer is still wait. And I'm going to tell you why. And that is because there is a divine design for your life. You can't come back into the community before time or too late, or you're going to miss your opportunity. Had I been released after doing 10 years in the Georgia Department of Corrections, I am absolutely confident that I would not be doing what I'm doing right now today, because I wouldn't have been ready. Some of you have asked for some great things, some great opportunities. The more we ask for, the more equipping that is necessary. So be careful what you ask for. If you're asking to do great and mighty things, you're going to have to stay in the oven just a little bit longer. But the time is coming when you're going to be released. And remember, when you shoot a bow and arrow can't go forward until it first does what? Got to go backwards first. So now, the community, there are the most amazing, most gifted and talented individuals I have ever met in my 57 years of life. I met them on the inside of the Georgia Department of Corrections.
That's true. Yeah.
It is 95% of everyone that is incarcerated. We are going to be released to the community. They're going to be your neighbor. They're going to be your coworker. They're going to be beside you getting gas. So with that said, every state does not have the great reentry programming that Georgia does. So I want to say to you, as a community, we should hold our corrections departments accountable to providing reentry programming for our loved ones that are coming home. They have to have access to introduction to computers, resume writing, motivational interviewing, parenting. How can a man that went to prison when he was 18 years old with no children, that grew up in a fatherless household, stay in prison for 20 years, get out of prison and magically know how to be a father? Explain that to me, somebody. But so these are the kind of programs that we need to advocate, that we need to hold our lawmakers accountable to making sure that they are implementing when they are elected. Employers, in the Georgia Department of Corrections, we didn't have jobs. You know why? Because they didn't pay us. We had to call, they were called details. I have seen people do some of the hardest work with the greatest level of excellence I've ever seen in my life in the Georgia Department of Corrections. Employers that will give returning citizens an opportunity at a living wage. You're going to be employing some phenomenal people that they'll never leave you or forsake you if you give them a chance.
That's right. You're right. I've met some of the best guys. Some of these guys I talk to daily. It's over 200 of us. I only have time to call all of them, Dr. Garrett. Right. But they look to me for guidance and I'm just an example of what right. They want. They see what I'm doing and they want to succeed also.
That's right.
Yeah.
Organizations, I had to leave this out. I've had some people say, Ron, we have never seen, and this has nothing to do with me. I'm just telling you, this has only by the grace of God. I'm just telling you here. We've not ever seen anyone from outside of the District of Columbia or outside of Prince George's County come here and be able to bring people together around reentry the way that you've been able to do. And again, only by the glory of God. And I'm going to tell you why. This is what it is. Before you ask another organization to do anything for you, this is the way I was taught. This is the way Julius trained me. He said, when you meet somebody that has something that you need or something that you want, or they can be a benefit to you, the first thing you need to do before you ask for anything is make yourself indispensable to them. So when I came here, I supported everybody's events that I could. I went to their events 7 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night, driving across town, speaking, doing whatever I was asked to do. So then when it came time that I now needed their support, I was already known as somebody that they could count on. Does that make sense? Right. Most people come in the door saying, give me, help me, help me, help me, help me. Go in the door with the attitude of a servant. Go in and be the servant to everybody. And then when you do have a need, you're going to have a whole community that's willing to rally around whatever it is that you're doing. And for the organizations, Lord have mercy. Work together. Come out of your silo, join hands, and work with the other community members, the other organizations in your community. And when you're having an event, Julius, whose logo has to be the biggest logo on the flyer? Nobody's.
Right.
Nobody's. And I tell and people, and I work with people that say, well, Pastor such and such wants his logo and his picture. I said, we're not doing that.
It's a team thing.
All of our logos are going to be right down here across the bottom. They're going to be nice and crisp so that everybody can see them. But no one looking at this flyer is going to know who put in the most money, who was the lead organization. You're not going to be able to tell that by looking at the any kind of marketing that we do about any kind of event, because we're all in this together.
A team, and that's what I love. Julius Hall, now you see why I wanted Dr. Garrett to come and be a guest, because his heart is passionate about returning citizens in every sense of the word, encouraging them, promoting them, providing for them, instructing them. And that's what we love to do. You know, I always say, Julius, when I'm talking to our people, that we may have started out wrong, But look at us now. We are finishing strong. And so, Ron, I am appreciative of you coming out and just encouraging our brothers and sisters, letting them know that, listen, this is not the end. We do have another chance. Let's progressively prepare for that chance. So as we get ready to close, Ron, is there one last word of encouragement that you want to share with our listeners?
If you want to be successful in life and you want to be successful, I'm going to specifically talk about your career. You must be dedicated to do the thing that is in front of you right now in order to get to where you want to go. We may not start out with a $50 an hour job, but I promise you this, if I won't do the $12 an hour job with the level of excellence and the level of commitment and the level of passion that it deserves, no one will ever hire me to work for the 50. If you will do the job that is right now in front of you, the rest will take care of itself. It's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. Julius, I'm going to let you take it away, but I just want to say, again, as I'm coming to you live from the ATL, because I like to meet with all types of returning citizens from all across the state. And why? Because, as Ron said, we need to get rid of these silos and join hands. And that's some of the things that I want to do, join hands with as many returning citizens as I can so that we can help as many men and women as we can, so that we can get these stories out there, these stories that are changing the narrative. Because as we stated before, the narrative has been false. We are successful. Look at what we got on right now. So as I give it to you, Julius, I want to leave by saying again, look at us. We may have started this thing off wrong, but right now we're finishing strong. Julius Hall, take it away.
Okay, and Dr. Garrett, we appreciate you coming on and giving this information. You were a wealth of information for returning citizens and their family members who can give this information to them. Julius and I would probably want to get with you, and because those models that the city has with the marker program and the county has with their program there, we need those programs, the model for them, so that we can give to our leaders here, so that we can see whether we can get some of those things instituted here, because those are great programs for returning citizens. Because once you return home, you are a returning citizen that needs to be productive. And if you're not productive, then you're in the way. So we need to make sure that they know their responsibility and obligation is to those returning citizens also. So we appreciate you coming. We'll have you back, and we'll be talking to you, because I really do want to get those models to give to those county officials, those city officials that are here that I know that might want to look at it.
Outstanding. I'm looking forward to it. And please, I want to invite everyone all that are listening to the third annual National Returning Citizens Conference. For the past 2 years, we've held the National Returning Citizens Virtual Conference. In 2023 will be the first National Returning Citizens Conference held in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
April 1st through the 23rd. It will be a hybrid event for those that can come in person and have some vacation time in Orlando. That's going to be outstanding. For those that can't be in person, you're still going to be able to log into the conference and the breakout sessions virtually.
Send us the invite, brother. We love you. We'll see you later. See you all. Thank you all for listening. We love you, and we'll see you next Friday again on Ink to Ink.
So, Julius, one last question.
Go ahead.
Who do I invoice?
ATR Media.
Y'all be good. Have a blessed weekend.
All right.
Love you.
like this. I like this. I like this.